Welcome back to Home Built Garage. Today we're going to work on this chainsaw. It's 034. This is an old one. Started spitting gas actually out the intake of the carburetor when I was running it. It started to dog out, and then I noticed when I was trying to start it, it was kind of spitting gas out. I'm guessing one of the diaphragm or something else went inside the carburetor. So I'm going to go ahead and tear it down. Okay, so we're going to start off, take the cover off. It's kind of quarter turn, pull that off. This thing could use an air filter. I haven't had this thing apart for a while. Unfortunately, I don't think I picked up an air filter. It's pretty easy to pull apart. Knock two screws off the air filter, pull it off. I'm going to have two, I believe they're 5/16 or an 8mm. We also have the throttle. There we go. That's the choke. Swing it out of the way. Throttle's back there. You got the fuel tube here. Go ahead and knock it off. Try to be careful not to get anything in it. It's real easy to get, sawdust, anything else, drop right in there. As you're taking this off, you got to pull the throttle linkage off. Just kind of hold the throttle open, grab it with your finger, pull it out around, and it comes right off. Kind of hard to see that far away, but that throttle link fits right in behind that. So what you're doing is pushing the throttle open that way, and then grabbing it with a finger this way and pulling it off and out. So that's all there is to pulling that thing off. It's pretty simple. I'm going to go ahead and do so. I'll hold the choke, and then I'll go ahead and brake clean, or you could use air or whatever, and blow all the crud off there. Just a little less chance of getting it into your carburetor. Okay, now this rubber grommet, it'll just pull off there. I think that's kind of there to help keep your screws from turning, although they do have springs on it. Nevertheless, go yank it off. Go ahead and knock this off. Now, this particular problem, I don't believe I have a clogged jet or anything because it's actually dumping fuel. So I'm not going to probably mess with pulling my two high and low speed screws out, because it actually ran really good before it started flooding the engine out. I would be on my workbench doing this, but I had a paint job I was working on and have everything covered up, and this saw just kind of quit on me. It's still chilly out, and I need to go cut some firewood, so. Okay, so underneath there you have your float. You kind of see it just barely there, if I get the light to kind of hit it just right. But anyways, that's your little float. It actually lets fuel in. I think what might have been going on is something with this diaphragm was screwing up and making it stick. Just pop this screw out here. Now, if you ever have one of these apart and you put it back together, don't do crazy on these screws, because you never know, you might be back in here like I am, having to rebuild it another time. So okay, so there's a little spring under there too. Once you take that screw off, you just want to pull. Sorry, I ain't focusing very well, but you pull that up out, and you can see it has a little spring and a float attached. Find a clean spot, set that. Even though it's getting replaced mostly, so. Alright, that pretty much does it for the bottom end of this carburetor. Okay, now I'll scrape that stuff off, all the remaining gasket off there. That'll do it for that side. So this side has like a little reed in there. See, it's just a gasket on that. And there's like a little reed material there. So let's set that aside. You want to take note of how you take this off, what position it's in. So later on you put it right back where it was, because each of these ports have to be lined up with a certain part of this reed. So now I'm going to take, you see some junk in there. I'm going to go ahead and just take all the ports, blow them all out. And I usually do that just by putting the straw end on the brake clean, carburetor cleaner, whatever you're deciding to use. And watch your eyes, put some glasses on or something, or just try to do this real easily here without getting too crazy. But what I like to do is get in each one of these ports and spray it out. And you'll see it coming out on the other side of that carb. Help blow out them holes. And you get all your different ports here. Try and do it. And it comes out. So you just keep going around doing that. Okay, so that pretty much does it for cleaning that up. I'm just going to take a razor blade and scrape all that off there real quick. And then we'll go together with assembly. So that's the kit I got for this one. It's a genuine Stihl kit. I don't know that I would have went this way if I wasn't in such a hurry, because honestly, a lot of this stuff, it's kind of hard to screw up. You could probably get an aftermarket one or whatever and be just fine. And after looking at this isn't even right for mine. I don't believe that this is going to line up. You can see a pretty big difference just by looking at that. So I'm going to have to run to the shop, see if I can get another one. Hopefully they'll have one in stock. So I went back to the store, got the right kit. So I'm going to go ahead and throw this thing together. Yeah, that looks much better. So I'm going to start off with a small spark. These small pieces can be a little tricky going back together. But you got your spring that will set right in that little slot, I should say. It's not really a hole. And then the float goes down in. And like I said, this can be a little bit tricky to get going here. Alright, so I got that setting on there. Now I got to get the pin back through. Alright, so you see the spring's in place, the float's in place, so I'll hold it down with my thumb and get the screw started. This is kind of a tedious little task here, because everything you work on is pretty small on these. And this is where you don't really want to go gung-ho and really torque this thing down. I just kind of snug them really loosely, really, not very tight. Alright, so now you can see the floats there. That spring is underneath the little detent, and it should be good. Okay, so I went ahead, got the gasket on, the diaphragm. At least that's how it was when I tore it apart, so that's how I'm going to put it going back together, because it did run. Put the screws in it, and again, just snug them up. Don't kill them, because they're going to eventually probably be back in there again. They usually need cleaned out at least once in a while. This carb's actually really clean, because I think I did it maybe a year or two ago, and I haven't used it much since. It kind of sat, but I have a sonic cleaner that I got. I don't remember where I got it, if it's eBay or maybe even Harbor Freight, but them sonic cleaners will clean these things up really nice. So if you get into these things very often, it's a nice little investment to help clean them up. Okay, so if you look on this side, it's kind of hard to see, and I don't have a flashlight, but inside here there's a little screen, and you can pull that screen out, because I got a new one here. Usually you can get it with a seal pick, or just stick a screwdriver in there. You see I just popped that out. It's a real fine screen. And having a hard time focusing in, but nevertheless, I got a new one, so I popped that out and put the new one in. Okay, so next you get the little reed that'll go in there. And leave it went on right like that. And after that, get the gasket. You could actually put this all together on this side. Well, actually make it a little easier. You get the little studs and dowels there. So you put it together on that side. If you had a little 2-cycle oil or something, this would probably help stick things together too, but it's not too awful. But there you have that. I'll throw the screw in it. Clean the mating surface up on the saw, mount it back up. This is a good time to take a look at this hose going to your gas reservoir. This one's pretty good. I think I did replace this once before. Here's the tricky part. And you gotta open that throttle up with one thumb. Get that rod in there. Just like that. As you're going together. So that's your actual trigger throttle. And you can see it moving. I'm not pulling it open, but after that, we will stick the bolt or the nuts on there. Stick this guy on there too, because I don't know if I can get that on later. So this operates your choke. That's your choke rod. And it pretty much flops right up into place. Again, we're just going to snug these up. We're not going crazy on them. They're not very big. I'm sure there's torque specs for them. If you look it up, you can probably find the torque spec for it. And then this guy here is pretty cruddy. I'm going to take it and blow it off a little bit here. Yeah, take it and get the air hose and blow some of that off. It's actually looking pretty bad. I need to replace it. You see a little bit of a hole there, so I'll probably just wipe it off at this point and then get another one ordered. Because there should be, I think, a fine filter over top of that, and it's kind of beat out of there and burn up. So I'm going to go ahead and just slap it on for the time being and get another one ordered. We'll go pick one up. I don't know if they'll have one in stock for this old saw. Let's make our sliding cover back on and lock it in place, quarter turn, and we should be good to go. I'll take it outside here, see if it fires up. There we have it. So there we have it. It fired up, I don't know, second or third pull, and honestly, I didn't even clean the plug up, and it was flooded out pretty good. But overall, simple little project. Get the thing going again. Go cut some firewood because it's getting cold out. And I don't know how many saw videos I'll do. I do a little of this, a little of that, but I do more car stuff and some bike stuff on dirt bikes and stuff like that. But please like, follow, and subscribe. Check out the links. I'm going to add a link to one of the car builds I'm doing. It's a 2013 Audi S4. It's on. I got off Copart Wrecked. I'm trying to get a little more views on that video. I'll put a link in there for it. But thanks for watching. Be safe out there, and I'm going to go cut some firewood. See you next time.